You chose her for perfectly logical reasons. You married her because she was a good girl. It wasn't an impulsive decision driven by raw animal passion, but a mature, calculated choice. She didn't hang out at clubs. She didn't have a string of questionable exes, and her reputation was spotless. She was the kind of woman you'd be proud to introduce to your parents. The kind whose loyalty you never doubted. In a world full of chaos and betrayal, she felt like a safe harbor, a solid foundation for a future family. Your primal brain saw her as the perfect mate, healthy, predictable, and safe. But time is the most ruthless solvent of illusions. Years have passed, and what was once her greatest virtue has turned into a source of your silent suffering. Her holiness, that predictable correctness that once promised stability, is now choking you like a silk scarf tightening around your neck. This virtue has become a prison for both of you, and nowhere is this prison felt more acutely than in your bedroom. Your bed has shifted from a territory of passion to a neutral zone, a place for sleep and polite neighborliness. Intimacy has become a lifeless ritual. The missionary position on holidays, performed like a marital duty, quick and emotionless. The lights are always off, as if you're both ashamed of your bodies. Afterward, a routine goodnight, and each of you turns to your own side of the bed, which feels vast and cold in that moment. Your conversations are just logistics: bills, groceries, kids, work problems. The spark is gone, the flirtation is gone, the mystery is gone, and so you lie there at night, listening to her steady breathing, asking yourself the same silent question that eats you up from within. Is this really it? Doubts begin to stir. Maybe she is frigid? Maybe I just don't do it for her anymore? At this moment, you are making the same fatal mistake most men make. You take her mask for her face. You believe that her modesty is her true, deepest essence. But the great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, a man who descended into the darkest basements of the human soul, knew a secret. This secret is capable of not just reviving your marriage, but triggering a total nuclear blast within it. It is a fundamental law of the psyche, the Law of Enantiodromia. Its essence is simple and ruthless. Any extreme, when pushed to its limit, inevitably gives birth to and turns into its complete opposite. The psyche cannot tolerate imbalance. It always strives for wholeness. As Jung himself said, any extreme inevitably turns into its opposite. And this law works with incredible force in female sexuality. The pure, the more correct and holy a woman's persona is her social mask. The dirtier, the more decadent, and the darker her shadow becomes. The shadow isn't just a dark side. It is a massive, boiling cauldron where she has spent years suppressing everything she considered bad or unworthy. Her aggression, her thirst for power, her forbidden fantasies. It is a concentrated source of pure, untamed psychic energy. I guarantee you, inside your quiet nun lives a primal lust that even porn stars couldn't imagine. But this power is locked behind a reinforced door of shame, fear, and the childhood belief that good girls don't act like that. Your task is not to knock politely on that door. Your task is to break it down. Today, I will teach you the art of corruption. I will show you how to set her inner demon free and ensure that all this primal, sweet filth belongs to you alone. But I must warn you, if you only watch halfway through, you will only get half the truth. I will reveal the master key at the very end. So before we begin, please hit the like button on this video. And if you are new here and ready to go all the way for real knowledge, subscribe right now so you don't miss the climax. And before we get to the core of it, I am curious about our geography. Please write in the comments which city you are from. It is important for me to see where men live who are ready to look deep. Part 1. Why saints make the best lovers. Why do the most experienced, sophisticated men the true masters of the psychological game hunt specifically for the modest ones? The answer lies in a fundamental concept that most people miss: sexual potential. Let's take a quick look at the neurobiology of this process. Our attraction and our pleasure are, first and foremost, the work of the dopamine system. Dopamine is the hormone of motivation and reward, triggered by novelty and anticipation. In a woman who has tried everything, the dopamine receptors are overloaded and desensitized. Her brain is used to the stimuli. She is hard to truly surprise. For her, sex is a habit, not a mystery. The brain of a good girl is a completely different story. Her dopamine system is virgin clean and hypersensitive. Years of prohibitions and self-restraint have made her incredibly receptive to any new stimuli. Simple dirty word whispered in her ear triggers a storm of emotions and a hormonal surge that a liberated woman wouldn't feel even in the most elaborate orgy. Every new step into the forbiddens is a massive dopamine explosion for her. This explosion binds her tightly to the source, to you. You become more than just a man to her. You become her personal dealer of the purest and most powerful drug, the drug of liberation. Look at this through the lens of cultural archetypes. The image of the virgin or the nun hasn't fascinated the male imagination for millennia by accident. It is not about physical innocence. It is about psychological innocence. She is a blank canvas. This appeals to the deep-seated male instinct of the explorer and the colonizer. To be the one who first discovers her true nature, the first to paint his patterns on this clean slate that is the highest form of possession. A man who corrupts a good girl isn't just having sex with her. He is creating her sexuality. He becomes its architect. And this creates a bond that is impossible to break. To understand its value, let's look at the opposite case: the burnt-out light bulb syndrome. This is a woman who has been in dozens of relationships and tried everything. On the outside, she may be vibrant, but inside, she is a scorched desert. Sex with her might be technically flawless, but it lacks the main thing: mystery and emotional involvement. With her, you are a consumer of a service. But with the good girl you lead by the hand into her own dark forest, you are a pioneer. This is why your role in this process changes fundamentally. You stop being just a husband or a lover. You become a guide for her, almost a mystical figure. You are the one who is not afraid of her darkness. On the contrary, you walk toward it. With a lantern, take her hand and say, "Look, this is also you." And it is beautiful. This role gives a man an incredible sense of power and binds the woman to him at the level of the soul. Part 2. The error of respect. Get her dirty. The fundamental, tragic mistake most good men make is that you respect her purity far too much. You look at her and see this shining image of innocence, and you are terrified of defiling it. You are afraid to offer her something naughty, because the first thought in your head is, she is not like that. She will be offended. She will think I don't respect her. You are afraid to stain her white dress. This is the diabolical paradox. She herself is dying for someone to finally stain that dress. She is tired of this role, of this sterile image that her parents first, and now you, have dressed her in. She is suffocating in this purity, because on a deep subconscious level, her soul knows that absolute purity is sterility, and sterility is the absence of life. Life is about juices, smells, sweat, filth, and chaos. Her soul, her animal side, her shadow, is subconsciously waiting for a man who will finally desecrate her. She needs someone who will not respect her saintliness, but will see her animal through it. It is critical to understand the difference between desecration and humiliation. Humiliation is an act of aggression intended to break and cause pain. Desecration, however, is a game, a shared adventure with her consent. The goal of desecration is not pain, of liberation through pleasure. You don't call her a dirty girl to insult her. You whisper it to her to give her permission to become who she always wanted to be, but was afraid to. Your task is to start staining her mind, her mental space. You must do this not with rudeness, but with permissiveness. You must become a walking permission slip for her. With your words, your gaze, and your touch, you must broadcast one simple idea. With me, everything is allowed. What is filth to others is a game to us. You must create a safe cocoon for her, within which the laws of the outside world do not apply. In this cocoon, she can finally release her shadow without fear of being rejected or judged. And when she realizes that you are not just unafraid of her darkness, but that you crave it, she will give herself to you entirely. Part 3. The Overton Window Technique. Introducing the vice. How do you do this in practice? You can't just approach her in the evening and suggest something extreme. Her persona will instantly activate defense mechanisms. She will get scared and shut down. You must use the method of gradual corruption. The first step is introducing verbal naughtiness. During sex, start calling things by their raw, animal names. Stop using sterile euphemisms like making love. Use direct, raw, yet arousing words. The first time, she will almost certainly tense up. Her conscious mind will perceive it as a shock, but her body, her shadow, will react with an instant. Uncontrollable surge of arousal, because you have finally given a voice to what was secretly whispering in her head. The second step is the validation of fantasies. In a quiet moment, say to her in a confident, low voice, "I know you aren't the little angel you pretend to be. There are very naughty thoughts in your head, and that turns me on incredibly. Even if she has never looked at anything like that, it doesn't matter. You aren't describing reality. You are programming it. You are giving her permission for these thoughts, legalizing her shadow, and turning her shame into your shared erotic game." And finally, the key phrase that breaks her main fear, the fear of social judgment. Look into her eyes and say slowly and clearly, "With me, you can be bad. I won't tell anyone." This is our little secret. This phrase works like a powerful neuro-linguistic spell. It creates an intimate, secret world between you, where the rules of the outside world do not apply. In this world, you are the guarantor of her safety and the keeper of her greatest secret. The main mistake on this path is pressure. If you see that she is scared, immediately take a step back. Smile and say, "It is okay. Forget it. I am just playing." You must be like water flowing around stones, not like a hammer crushing them. Your confidence and your calm are her main support on this journey. If this is the approach you have been looking for, now is the perfect time to subscribe. Part 4. The Ritual of the Fall. Break her taboos. 2. Finally shatter the cage of her persona and integrate the shadow. Words alone are not enough. You need catharsis. You need action. You need a ritual, a symbolic act of falling that will forever change her self-perception. What is the essence of this ritual? It is the joint breaking of a rule, a conscious overcoming of her internal taboo. Good girls are slaves to rules. Holistic women break rules for pleasure and energy. Why does this work? Let's look at our biology. When a person takes a risk, their adrenal glands pump a huge dose of adrenaline into the blood. This hormone sharpens all the senses and speeds up the heart. The world becomes brighter and more intense. When this powerful surge of adrenaline occurs simultaneously with sexual arousal, the brain performs a misattribution of arousal. It links the thrill of the risk and the high of the sex into one incredibly powerful knot of experience. Your task is to create such a situation for her. Start small. Make love during the day with the curtains open, or in a car parked in a quiet but public place. The next level, have her go out to dinner with you without wearing any underwear under her dress. And only you will know this secret. The peak is sex in a place where the risk of being discovered is real, but not certain. Your role here is the seducer. You should not ask, but egg her on with excitement and a smile, turning her fear into a thrilling adventure. Go on, no one will see. Be my bad girl. Only for me. When she finally crosses that line after overcoming her internal barrier, magic happens. You stop being just husband and wife. You become accomplices, partners in crime. You are bound by a shared secret, a small joint crime against a boring world of rules. And this shared secret creates the strongest emotional bond imaginable. Part 5. The exclusivity of filth and the finale. And so, having traveled this entire path, from verbal corruption to the ritual fall, you receive the ultimate prize. You get what every man secretly dreams of, but not every man dares to even put into words. You get a woman who, to the rest of the world, is a model lady, an exemplary wife, and a respected professional. But for you, behind the closed doors of your bedroom, she is an absolutely uninhibited, insatiable, ready for anything personal mistress. This is where the highest value lies, in exclusivity. A promiscuous woman is promiscuous with everyone. There is no intrigue or personal merit in that. Her body and her filth are publicly available, like a dish at a roadside diner. But the good girl you have corrupted is naughty only with you, because only you know her main secret. Only you have seen her true dark side, her shadow. Only you are her guide into this forbidden world. Her decadence is not a trait of her nature available to all. It is your personal, exclusive trophy that she gives only to you as a sign of the highest trust and love. You begin to own her dark side, and that means you begin to own her entirely. Before this, you only owned 50% of the woman. By integrating her shadow, you gain access to 100% of her personality. This gives you absolute, unbreakable power over her heart, body, and soul, because only with you can she be whole, real, and alive. Today, we have explored how to break through her psychological defenses and release her shadow. That is exactly what we will dissect in the next video. We will break down the topic of genetic colonization. Why, after such an experience, an ancient instinct wakes up in her, making her subconsciously want to conceive a child, specifically from you. It is the final, darkest chord of possession. To make sure you don't miss this breakdown, ensure you're subscribed and definitely hit the bell icon. The darkness is waiting.